This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Tuesday, May 3rd, and today's pod is the best one yet.
Nick, after a month that was the worst for stock markets in years,
Awful April.
May has started yesterday with a stock market win.
Yeah, call up Brittany, because this is just so typically May.
Well said. For our first story, TBOI, the biggest move in real estate right now is the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
What do I got to do to get you in this virtual monkey plot of land, Jack?
For our second story, Qantas Airlines, their new superplane will fly 20 hours long distance nonstop from Sydney to New York City.
The U.S. won the space race. Qantas wants to win the leg space race.
For our third and final story, how is Warren Buffett beating the stock market right now? The guy's 92.
I'm so glad you asked, Jack. It's because he's investing in the 1900s.
That's right. He's betting against every trend you know.
Every single trend. This is a great mix for Tuesday, by the way, Jack.
Before we hit that wonderful mix, Nick, if you're listening while eating, heads up, we got some news.
Okay, Jack and I just discovered the biggest development to breakfast since the spork.
Correction, it's pronounced spoon. It's a spoon. Tropicana has just invented a cereal that goes with not milk, with orange juice.
We're not kidding. Get this. It's called Tropicana Crunch. You don't pour on milk. You drown the cereal in orange juice.
So your question in the morning isn't 2% skim or whole. It's lots of pulp, some pulp, or no pulp.
Picture a bowl of Frosted Flakes, but simmering in the color orange.
This sounds unprecedented.
Fantastic.
Because nothing pairs with honey almond clusters like citrus.
Yeah, it's all part of this questionably balanced breakfast.
Now, this kind of makes sense because OJ is a plant-based beverage.
Ipso facto, OJ is the OG of oat milk.
But the real reason that Tropicana created a cereal for orange juice, Nick?
Orange juice sales. They've been dropping for years, man.
Yeah, remember the old, it's all part of your complete breakfast nonsense we heard on commercials?
Yeah, because you started middle school with a strawberry frosted Pop-Tart, a glass of orange juice, and 6 pounds of Cookie Crisps.
Cookie Crisp. Well, every part of that complete breakfast is on the decline.
Dairy struggling, OJ struggling, and Cookie Crisp can lightly kill you.
So now OJ's trying to replace dairy and cereal. Shouldn't they be fighting the real enemy here?
And the real enemy of orange juice and dairy, Jack?
Overnight oats.
Besties, T-boys, T-girls, Yetis. If you've got a stranger breakfast routine than OJ in your cereal, tweet and tag us at TBoyPod.
Do it before the cereal gets soggy.
We want to see your funky breakfast.
Let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, the Bored Ape Yacht Club just made its biggest and most lucrative move yet.
We're calling it Bored Ape City.
Bored Ape City. All right, everyone. We need a name for people. Honestly, we need a name. This is gonna get. Can everyone? We'll just run with everyone
We're gonna
for the
get
next
there.
week.
We're gonna get there.
Okay. The most exciting moves going on in real estate right now are not involving your old roommate flipping apartments down in Fort Lauderdale.
Did I tell you about that 1/8 ownership deal of the place just 2 blocks from the beach in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, you told me 12 times, man. The most exciting real estate deals going on right now involve fake land sold by primates.
We're talking about the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They just sold so much virtual land in their metaverse that they broke the Ethereum network.
Okay, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Jack, we should sprinkle on a little context here.
It's a collection of digital art apes, and the apes are in various levels of fatigue.
Yeah, the ape drawings look like they don't give a banana about anything going on right now.
I said it before, they look cool. There's leather jacket ape. There's pizza lip ape. There's sushi bandana ape.
Bieber's got one of these apes. A lot of fancy people have these apes, Jack.
They're expensive. We don't have one yet.
At the Met Gala, there can be a lot of digital apes.
Now, here's the key. Each ape is one of a kind. Just like a painting on canvas, there might be copies of the apes, but the original is yours and yours only.
My grandma had a few Mona Lisas. She didn't have the Mona Lisa.
And the cheapest Bored Ape Yacht Club ape is $400,000 right now.
So almost $500,000 can buy you the JPEG digital image of one of these virtual ape drawings.
Or like a condo in Santa Monica.
But here's what Jack and I find fascinating about the Bored Ape Yacht Club right now. The Bored Ape Yacht Club has evolved from art into an economy.
Yeah, they've done way more with the metaverse than Facebook has.
Yeah, it's so true. First of all, the Bored Ape Yacht Club apes were all designed and created by a startup called Yuga Labs.
It's a design shop that raised venture capital money and is now worth $4 billion.
And the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they've started doing physical meetups and physical events.
Access to the meetings is showing that you own an ape. And then you can hang out with everybody in Fort Lauderdale near that 1/8 ownership condo I told you about.
You're getting bottle service down in Miami is what you're doing if you got a Bored Ape.
They also launched their own coin, ApeCoin.
And now they're launching a virtual world, an ape world.
It's called Other Side. We previewed this a few months ago on the pod, but now it's actually happening. This is a metaverse for Bored Ape parties, and you can virtually hang out there.
But the news from yesterday brings everything together, total kumbaya style for the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Other Side is selling land.
Land. The Bored Ape land. Apelandia.
Now it's like Del Boca Vista, but instead of old retired people, it's Bored Apes.
It's Bored Apes, and it's in their virtual world.
Now here's the deal. If you own a Bored Ape, you get a plot of land in Other Side for free.
Again, a virtual world, virtual land.
But if you don't own a Bored Ape, last weekend, you would have had to buy ApeCoin first and then place a bid on one of these virtual plots of land in their metaverse.
This is how it all comes together. So, Jack, how much land in this virtual ape world did the Bored Ape Yacht Club sell?
55,000 parcels of virtual land were sold at the auction.
And, Jack, how much is that virtual land in Apelandia worth?
320 million of digital real estate was sold.
Okay, so much digital real estate in the Bored Ape Yacht Club virtual world was sold that the Ethereum cryptocurrency that it runs on was temporarily broken.
Oh, and plots of land, they're now selling for 3 times more than the original price.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for all of our unaffordable buddies over in the Bored Ape Yacht Club?
The key to any luxury brand is scarcity.
Chef's kiss. At Bored Ape Yacht Club, it has become the most recognizable brand in cryptocurrencies after Bitcoin.
And it's the most expensive brand in crypto.
Because everything the Bored Apes do, they do with one word in mind, and that word is scarcity.
There's a limited number of Bored Apes. There's a limited number of ape coins, and now there's a limited number of plots of virtual real estate.
The secret to the Bored Ape Yacht Club's success isn't just some grungy monkey pictures.
It's that everything they launch at the Bored Apes is a limited edition.
The number one ingredient for luxury, it's scarcity. For our second story, Qantas Airlines just bought a dozen flying hotels for the brand new longest flight on Earth, Jack.
And we're looking at this and we see the 50-year innovation drought in travel is over.
Okay, good trivia if you're in a car right now. Actually, best if you're in a plane right now. Turn to the seat person next to you, make a new friend. What is the longest flight in the world?
I don't know.
This one's interesting. New York City to Singapore. JFK to Singapore.
Wow. How long?
18 hours and 5 minutes. It's so long you have multiple dinners. You live like a hobbit on this thing.
But prepare for Project Sunrise. That's the name of Qantas Airlines' new record-setting flight plan.
Project Sunrise. This thing was secretive, but now it's out in the open.
Qantas Airlines is owned by the Australian government. It's like a publicly owned airline. And the locals call it the Flying Kangaroo.
And here's what Qantas Airlines noticed. London and New York City.
The Big Apple. Big Ben.
Too far to get to directly from the country of Australia.
Australian tourists have been feeling like they're missing out.
They need light speed to get to New York from Sydney.
So now you finally can, in 2025, you finally can fly directly from Sydney to London or New York City.
Thanks to Project Sunrise, the brand new longest flight in the world.
Yes, this flight is going to take 20 hours.
Yes, 20 hours. That's long enough to watch 10 Bond movies or 38 episodes of Modern Family.
Or 2 Christopher Nolan films.
Not because the Christopher Nolan films are long, but you need 6 hours to figure out what the heck just happened.
Now, to do that 20-hour flight from Sydney to London or New York City, Qantas just bought a dozen brand new Airbus jumbo jets.
I'm still trying to figure out what happens at the end of Tenet, Jack.
Now, sadly for Boeings, those Airbuses, they're replacing Boeings.
Now, this new plane from Qantas that's doing the world's longest flight, it's not a plane. This is a flying hotel.
Qantas Airlines bragged that this Airbus they're setting up, it will have the fewest seats of any commercial airplane that's that big.
Jack and I got curious, and the reason why it has fewer seats is because it has more suites.
Exactly. Fewer suites means more suites.
This plane is a flying profit, puppy. Jack, tell us more.
Okay, there are 6 first-class suites on this plane.
Bingo! These first-class suites include a recliner, a full separate bed, your own closet with a robe, and a 32-inch TV.
It's like a 300 square foot little like apartment on an airplane.
It's larger than whatever one bedroom you just crawled out of, and there's room to make your own omelet, except the chef is going to make the omelet for you.
Yeah, there's also 52 business suites, which are like mini Marriotts on board.
You don't get like a closet or a big screen with these seats, but the seat does lie flat so you can sleep flat.
And while you're laying down 180 degrees, there's also 180 regular seats for like the peasants in the back.
But Jack, we have saved the best for last. Can we talk about the well-being zone?
It's not a modern flight unless there's a modern yoga studio.
A well-being zone. We're talking about a space so big you could lead an entire vinyasa class.
It's for movement, stretching, and hydration, according to the airline. But this all makes it possible to take off on a Monday from Sydney and land in New York on a Wednesday. I think.
We may have done the calculation wrong, but it's something like that.
It's 14-hour time zone plus 20-hour flight. You do the math.
No one knows what happens with that international dateline. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Qantas?
The 50-year innovation drought in travel is over.
Jack, the Boeing 747, its famous first flight, 1969.
That was such an innovative thing in America, but it was 53 years ago.
Cars, largely unchanged during that same period.
There's been an innovation drought in travel, but in the past year, we've seen some innovation in travel.
We got private space travel, on-demand helicopters.
Soon we'll have a flying hotel from Qantas and electric vertical takeoff and landing machines.
And many of those are already publicly traded companies. They're not just new startups.
And after that, we're going to get truly self-driving cars. And then a Hyperloop. Those have raised billions of dollars of venture capital.
Now, a whole bunch of that innovation has been driven by the ultra wealth that has formed in just the past decade.
True. But the travel industry hadn't innovated in a half century.
Until now.
And now, a word about our sponsor, Robinhood.
So for the last 3.5 years, Jack and I were running a startup within a startup, basically.
We turned our company, Market Snacks, into Robinhood Snacks, the news arm of Robinhood.
And at Robinhood, we co-hosted the Snacks Daily Pod that you got to know and love.
At Robinhood, we also got to hire an awesome team of news people who run the Robinhood Snacks newsletter.
Wild fact here, the biggest newsletter in America, Robinhood Snacks.
A key detail, though, not many are aware of, is the editorial independence.
So Jack and I set it up so that we could independently cover the most interesting and most important news stories of the day.
Robinhood's commitment to free, digestible news snack style was an awesome differentiator.
Yeah, if you're not investing in Robinhood yet, to get started, go to robinhood.com/tboy and choose a free stock.
That's robinhood.com/TBOY.
Certain limitations apply. All investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
By the way, Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or the podcast. For our third and final T-Boy story, Warren Buffett has just hosted his biggest investment party of the year.
And Warren Buffett hates every trend that you like, and it's working.
Warren Buffett runs the most famous fund on Wall Street,
Berkshire Hathaway,
which happens to be the most expensive stock on Wall Street.
It's $500,000 a share for the A class.
It's going to cost you. But when they host their annual shareholder meeting over at Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, don't call this the Woodstock for capitalists.
We're calling it Coachella for capitalism.
We're calling it the Bonnaroo for the business class.
We're calling it that big Vanity Fair party at the Met, but for billionaires on the Forbes list instead of Giselle.
Jack, can you tell us who was in the seats for this Berkshire Hathaway conference?
This was like a good, clean, wholesome Saturday event this past Saturday.
Very nice. Done by 5 p.m.
Tim Cook was there.
Yeah.
Jamie Dimon was there.
This is great.
Bill Ackman was there.
They do like a red carpet report. It's like, and what khakis are you wearing? And what khakis are you wearing?
Oh, and they tossed in Bill Murray and Glenn Close to make all those financiers feel cultural.
You like it? It's Brooks Brothers 2018.
Now, if you own stock of Berkshire Hathaway, you own bits and pieces of every company that Warren Buffett likes.
Perfectly put, Jack. This is like a stock smoothie that includes all the stuff a 92-year-old from Nebraska would happen to believe in.
Shocker. That 92-year-old from Omaha, Nebraska, Warren Buffett, his stock smoothie beat the rest of the stock market last year.
Okay, let's talk about the numbers here, Jack. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway was up 30% in 2021. What did the rest of the stock market do?
Not quite as good. The rest of the stock market, as recorded by the S&P 500, grew 29% last year.
Now, here's even more of a shocker. This year, 2022, Berkshire Hathaway isn't just beating the rest of the market by like a little bit. Jack, how's he doing?
It's mopping up the floor with the S&P 500.
Boom, Berkshire Hathaway, it's up 5% this year. Jack, how's the rest of the stock market doing?
That's a modest gain, but it's a massive gain if you compare it to the 15% decline of the S&P 500.
Now, we know what everyone listening right here is wondering. How, in the Coachella of capitalism, is a 92-year-old beating the entire rest of the stock market?
A 92-year-old is winning by hating every trend happening in your life.
Yes, so Jack, what is the takeaway for our buddy Warren Buffett? We don't actually know, but we would like to be invited.
Warren Buffett lives in the 21st century, but he's investing in the 20th century.
The way Jack and I see this, for every trend, Warren Buffett is the contra trend.
Every major trend that's moved business and that we've talked about the past couple of years, Warren Buffett has bet against it.
For example, there was a huge movement away from fossil fuels.
There is a huge movement away from fossil fuels, and yet one of Berkshire's 4 big investments is oil, Chevron.
It's in Chevron, and meme stocks and crypto, those have been getting all the attention over the last year.
Warren Buffett said on Saturday, if he could buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, he wouldn't do it.
Not even a single fraction of one.
And he ripped on the stock market as looking more like a casino right now.
Now, to be fair, one of the only 21st century modern investments that Warren Buffett owns is Apple.
But Apple at this point, it's so established, you could argue Apple is old school, right in Warren's wheelhouse.
So Berkshire Hathaway, it is the stock that bets against all the trends that you probably love.
And it's working.
Jack, can you whip up the T-Boy takeaways for us over there?
The Bored Apes aren't just expensive NFTs, they're now expensive virtual land plots too.
The number one ingredient to luxury is scarcity.
For our second story, Qantas Airlines, no you by the way, Q, but no you. Qantas Airlines has ordered a flying hotel from Airbus.
The drought in travel innovation is over, Jack.
And our third and final story is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. They just invited all the shareholders over to Nebraska.
And Warren's living in the 21st century, but investing in the 20th century, and it's working. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in and submitted to our forum by Amy Pandit from lovely Austin, Texas. Jack, this is an audio snack fact. You want to do the honors here?
In honor of Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I've got a panda fact for y'all. Pandas are the most expensive animal to keep in a zoo. They cost about 5 times as much as an elephant. A lot of this is due to their food. They're not biologically herbivores, but about 6,000 years ago, they developed a taste for bamboo and pretty much stopped eating everything else. It's very low in nutrients and difficult to digest though, which means they have to eat a lot of it. One panda can get through about 12 kilograms of fresh bamboo a day.
So bamboo is basically the sushi of animal food.
Yeah. The Gucci bears.
Really expensive.
Yeah. Very cute. Also very high maintenance, apparently. Amy, thank you for submitting the best fact yet. Everyone else listening, if you think you've got the best fact yet, Jack and I want to hear your voice on the pod.
We got a link in every episode description. It's so easy.
It's so easy.
You can submit an audio best fact just like Amy.
And remember, the best way to help this pod and to grow this pod is ask your buddies, HYHTVOY.
Have you had the best one yet?
If you know, you know.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And before we go, congratulations to listener Juan Manuel Peña, who has a new radio station down in the Dominican Republic.
It's called Mercados and Valores.
And Rose Walls just passed the CFA level 2. One more to go.
Congrats to the Brown Bears men's lacrosse team. Ivy League champs once again.
There we go.
And congrats to Andrea Bonilla, who just got a new consulting gig doing offshore wind farms.
Are you going to see those on Block Island?
I am.
Yeah, you are. And happy birthday to Winnie Shu down in Shenzhen, China.
And Victor Thomas in Nashville, Tennessee.
And Christian Lick D in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Happy birthday to Steve Kearney in Austin.
And Cole Westfall turning Sweet 16 in California.
And happy birthday to Dutch T-Boy Steph Vandermeer in the Netherlands.
And Rebecca Weber turning 35 in Providence.
Happy 32nd to Mikhail Oza in Philadelphia, PA.
And Damon and Daniel Deloe over in Miami. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Nikish Nakab in New York City.
And Asim Goyul in South San Francisco.
And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, no Bored Apes, and stock of Robinhood and ETFs of the S&P 500. And Nick owns stock of Apple.
And that Bitcoin, his name is Ben. And now word about our exclusive sponsor, Robinhood.
Look, we're not tech guys. We're not engineers. Nick, I'm no product manager.
You look great, but we're not technically. When our computer's not working, Jack and I turn it off and then we turn it back on again.
But when we moved to California to join Robinhood, we were in tech's mecca.
So we were soaking up as much about the tech industry as we could.
One thing we saw about the tech industry at Robinhood was insane customer focus.
Every product launched, every tweak made to the app was a laser-focused move on customers.
Robinhood would be interviewing hundreds of users to figure out if one tweak of one button in the app would improve the experience.
Inside of Robinhood, we saw that everything the company did was focused on the best outcome for you, the customer.
If you're not investing on Robinhood yet, to get started, go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and choose a stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY.
Certain limitations apply. All investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
By the way, Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or this podcast.
You like it? It's Brooks Brothers 2018.